Tua's dead. The Bucs are contenders. And welcome back to the brand new Combine. And we're going to go ahead and start diving into Week 2 recap right after this.
Yeah, leave it all on the court. Leave it all on the field. You gotta give it 100. That's from your head to your heel. This is the time that you want it. It's time to jump in and run it. Let's get to jumping and running into securing the deal. This ain't pretend, it's for real. Turn up the temp just a little. With stakes so high,
he's gonna make the throw. It's a touchdown.
Good looking for him. Block throw as always. Mike Evans, he scores again.
Mix it up for the combine. Push it to the limit. How I give it at the combine. Bet I blow your mind when it's lights, camera, showtime.
And welcome back. Week 2 is in the books, and we're going to go ahead and dive into the few games that we are not covering today, starting with the Buccaneers toppling Dan Campbell and the Lions 2016. Baker, 2 total touchdowns. Goff, 2 picks. Bucs moved to 2-0. Past that, Ravens lose to the Las Vegas Raiders. Ravens are now 0-2. Raiders win by a field goal. Justin Tucker missed a crucial one in the third. Stinks for the Ravens. Get out of here. Arizona took the Ram by the horns, beats LA 41-10. Massive showing from MHJ and Kyler Murray. Herbert throws 2 in a 26-3 defeat of Carolina. Chargers 2-0, believe it or not. Back-to-back, 25 points for the Saints. I can't stand saying that as a Bucs fan. It makes me furious. I want to run through a wall. Beat the boys 44-19, and finally, Seattle beats New England 23-20 in OT. Stays perfect heading into Week 3. But we are not here to talk about those games. We're here to talk about 3 main ones. And with me to talk about them is Kathleen Moore and Brianna St. Jean.
Hello, Ty Patton.
Hello, Brianna St. Jean.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Y'all look great today. I love the jerseys.
Thanks. You.
Excellent.
I'm very sad to be wearing this jersey today.
Yeah, it's a bad day to be a Bears fan.
It's always a bad day to be a Bears fan. So, but, I had to for Combine, had to show out, even though it's very upsetting wearing this after the game yesterday.
Well, I appreciate you getting dressed up.
Thank you.
How are you, Kathleen?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here. Hopefully it's a good day to be wearing an Eagles jersey. We'll see after Monday Night Football.
Never a good day to be wearing an Eagles jersey.
Hey, no.
But they do play
that.
Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. We just discussed this last week. The Falcons are fugazi. They are no good.
It's a big word.
But we also have to introduce the assistant producers who now have a camera. Ooh. Lord almighty. We have Edgar Rodriguez and Elijah McClary, the boys behind the computer. These guys are the blood, sweat, and tears of the Combine. Gotta love them.
They are the Combine.
They are the Combine. These guys are the Combine. And Nick Cohen, but he's not here, so sucks to suck.
He's always here, spiritually.
Yeah.
Oh, spiritually. Yeah. I hear him whispering sweet nothings about Tyreek Hill in my ear, when I'm trying to sleep at night.
Always.
So, the games we're going to be talking about are starting off with the Bengals at the Chiefs. Horrible game for Pat Mahomes. He did not look any good. Elijah McClary, a big Chiefs fan over there. I know he's just, gritting his teeth together. Mahomes goes 151, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Rasheed Rice, 5 for 75 and a tutty. And Joey B, on the other hand, 258, 2 touchdowns, and Mike Gesicki steals the show, 91 on 7 receptions. Overall, I just think Mahomes stinks. This guy's bad. I want him to be bad. I really do. I want the Chiefs to stink. I want them to be horrible, but they're 2-0 right now. It's kind of scary.
I have to agree with everything you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes I think he is overhyped for sure. I think he definitely could perform better, but I think the fame has definitely gotten in the way of him performing in the ways he should be performing.
Big time.
You are a quarterback for the Chiefs, and you have a great offense and defense, but I just don't think the offense is where it should be, needs to be.
Yeah. No.
Kind of in the same respect, Travis Kelce has definitely gotten a lot more TV time, a lot more camera time since dating mega pop star Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of gotten in the way of the game. I've got him in one of my fantasy leagues, and he dropped 1.8 fantasy points this week with a projected 16, so having a great time there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's football, baby. We want good football. And I don't care what you wore to the U.S. Open, Travis Kelce. I want to see how you're performing on the field. I do. And I feel like both Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce need to definitely get things going for them. But I think they will throughout the season, for sure.
Where's the dynamic duo? Where is it?
I think so, too, but
it's gone.
Yeah.
Reduced to atoms. Never coming back.
I do like watching Joe Burrow play, I will say. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he has a lot of potential.
Hey, do you like Macaulay Culkin, Joe Burrow better, or Eminem, Joe Burrow better?
I really like that picture right there. I was just looking at it, and I'm just like, oh, wow, love Joe Burrow.
The bleach was a lot at first.
It is a lot. It is a lot, but it's kind of working. Good for him, I guess. Not everybody can pull it off.
He looks like he skinned the hedgehog and wore it as a hat. That's very weird. I don't like that at all.
Hey, don't be jealous just because you couldn't go blonde.
That's crazy. That's insane. I could go blonde if I wanted to.
And buzz cut.
Anyways. I'm not going to buzz cut. Okay, so Chiefs win on a very crucial penalty, 4th and 16, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Elijah McClary, but pass interference call. Puts them in field goal range. They win by 1 point, 26-25. Horrible outing. I think the Bengals low-key should have won that game, but Pat Mahomes and the boys and the refs somehow find a way to get it done. Moving on, though, Kathleen is talking about the 49ers and at the Vikings, one of the biggest upsets of the week.
Oh, this was a crazy game to watch, Tyler. Do you go by Ty or do you go by Tyler? I'm so sorry. Ty, okay.
Every time I get called Tyler,
he just got jump scared.
Yes. So the only people that still call me Tyler now are my mom and my dad. And whenever they call me that, I did something bad. You know, like my heart sinks, my stomach drops.
Full government name.
I think I saw the light leave from your eyes just now.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Like I whenever I hear that, I go into panic mode, you know.
But yes.
Yeah, let's talk about this 49ers-Vikings game. So Sam Darnold, he went 17 for 26, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. He also rushed for 32 yards. So honestly, a pretty good showing for Sam Darnold. I think he's looked pretty solid both weeks since the season started. Justin Jefferson, he really showed out, proving to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, definitely showing why he should have that salary. Only 4 receptions, but for 133 yards and a touchdown. He did leave in the third quarter with a leg injury, and he didn't return, but I think he'll be back next week because it was just some bruising, so I think he'll be fine.
I think the biggest question of the day for the Niners-Vikings is, does the injury report play heavily into how it wound up? Because CMC was put on the IR right before the game, which I had on my fantasy team. I was crying beforehand. Yeah. George Kittle goes for 76 yards and a big one before he got carted off the field, but he came back 10 minutes later, just cramping, ate some Skittles and drank pickle juice, whatever he did. Fred Warner had a quote-unquote injury. He went down for a little bit, came back. Not a ton of injuries, but the minute George Kittle comes out the field, Purdy starts to stink. CMC's not there. Jordan Mason's trying to get things going, but it's not really going. Is this team screwed with the players on IR they have right now?
I mean, ultimately,
I don't know.
Yeah, if you have CMC on your team, you have to expect him to get hurt. I mean, he's so fragile, I feel like. His bones are literally made of glass. He's getting hurt all the time. And the 49ers, they have a stacked, offense, and they have some great weapons in the slot. I mean, I don't really see any excuse as to why CMC being out should prevent them from winning. Because Brock Purdy's he's a good quarterback. I mean, despite all of this and having a terrible offensive line, he still had 319 passing yards. I mean, that's very solid numbers.
Yeah, but the only thing is, you can be a great quarterback and still be terrible.
Yeah.
Look at Kirk Cousins, 400 yards per game. Purdy he did put up 331 total, but he only has 17 points to show for it. That kind of stinks.
That's true. But it's not all his fault, though.
It's not all his fault.
I mean,
credit where credit's due, though. Sam Darnold is him.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do when you're getting sacked 6 times in one game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's more of a problem of the 49ers offensive line, a credit to the defensive line for the Vikings, or if it's Brock Purdy just not being evasive enough. I mean,
yeah.
I think in the coming weeks, that'll be telling.
For Jonathan Grenard, for all the boys on the Minnesota defense, and then for the full Trent Williams and San Francisco's O-line, we're going to dive into more in segment 2, but moving forward, Brianna St. Jean has been licking her chops over the Buffalo at Miami game. She has been, great use of sound effect, Edgar
Totally.
Rodriguez.
That's exactly what I sound like, Ty. Thank you. Yes, it was a good game. But it was a horrible game. So I'm not a Dolphins or a Bills fan, so watching it as someone who really has no specific team, it was insane to see. The Bills dominated for sure, but this is my little hot take. I think the Dolphins beat themselves and the Bills beat the Dolphins. Well, obviously, yes, but let me elaborate a little bit. I think the Dolphins, they definitely had some struggle on their own side of the team. Obviously, Tua had his injury and his past injuries, and I really think that the O-line, the defense, so much stuff needed work, and they just did not pull through when they needed to, and it was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
And they didn't pull through, and that's why a lot of the plays that were made weren't good. So in a lot of Tua's interceptions, I mean, he had 3 turnovers, but 2 of them were not his fault, and I will die on that. Because one hit a receiver's chest, that's the receiver's fault. And the other, I believe, he went the wrong route, or the receiver went the wrong route. And I'm like, that's really not Tua's fault, because if you're a quarterback, you're locked into what the play is.
Yeah.
And so I get he's also not at his top level, and his receiver should know that too. So I don't know. It was just really weird seeing him play after all of his concussions and after everything, and seeing him get another concussion yet again. It's really heartbreaking to see, because I know he's trying his hardest. I know he's pushing for the team, and I think that's why he did get that concussion, because when he was when he got tackled, he was diving, but he took jiu-jitsu. He learned how to fall, and he did all these steps to prevent himself from getting a concussion again. But I really think he put himself out there for the team. He was trying to get that first down.
Yeah.
He was trying to get the first down, and he got it. He just didn't know he got it, and then he put himself on the line for his team. And I think he's screwing them over in the long run, because now they have who's the quarterback?
Tyler Huntley, just recently signed from formerly the Baltimore Ravens. But all that time of jiu-jitsu, where to get him?
You think
back to the injured reserve list?
Yeah,
it's no good. I will say though, for the Buffalo-Miami game, Tyreek Hill, since the time he's been with Miami, has played the Bills 4 times. Each time he put up 4 or less catches and 60 or less yards in each of those games. So we knew going into it that Tyreek and Jalen were they were just gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
We just could Tua find a way to get it done without him. Achane, 165 total yards, a big one.
Love him.
James Cook on the other side though, 3 total touchdowns.
God.
I think James Cook cooked and beat the Dolphins. I don't think the Bills beat the Dolphins. I think James Cook beat the Dolphins.
I mean, Josh Allen had a couple good plays too. I mean, he is a good quarterback. He does what he needs to do when he needs to do it. But I don't know. I think he has room for improvement.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. But so with Tua on the injured reserve list, right? He says he's coming back, but we don't really know what's going to happen yet. It's only been a day or 2 since the concussion. He's got to take time to think about this.
I think he's 4 to 5 games out, right?
Something like it,
yeah.
We want to look at something. This is the Dolphins schedule up on the TV right now. Former over-under for the Miami Dolphins was 11.5 wins. So betting bookers had it high. Now, in a hypothetical, let's say Tua does decide to retire, which he probably won't. But let's say he does.
Or even put...
Let's say he does.
Yeah.
How many games on this list do we think they can win?
Not a lot of them. I'm going to be honest with you. I really think if we don't have a cohesive relationship between our quarterback and our receivers, I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't.
Yeah.
And we are not good. I mean, we could run the ball, but I don't see it working for any of these teams, honestly. I just see L after L after L. And I don't know if that's just me kind of being salty against them, but I don't see them winning. Maybe a couple of them.
I give them 5 wins on board, and that's the Titans, Patriots.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. If I'm being generous, without Tua, there's 6 more games they can win, and they're 1-1 right now. I'd say
so.
It's just tough sledding for the Dolphins. 2 of 4 concussions professionally in 5 years, 5 in his career. You're supposed to call it after 2.
And especially the rigor mortis, as well. Seeing him.
You only know that word because you watched The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
I actually did not see that movie.
What? Okay. Nope. We're moving on. We're going to go ahead and dive into segment 2, where we are going to cover everything coming up, the biggest headlines you need to watch out for, all the news you need to know for week 3 of the NFL. Thank you, Brianna St. Jean, and thank you, Kathleen Moore. You guys are great.
Hello, Hitting the Field family. My name is Andrew Montana, host of Season 19 of The Main Show. And on behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content. But I'm here to tell you about everything else we have to offer here at the network. Mondays at noon, HTF Bets goes live with 3 of the best on-air faces we have in the program. Andrew Gregg's personality, Tyler Brownrick's sports expertise, and Nick Cohen's versatility make this show a fan favorite, but also a warm light to guide you through the harsh world that is the sports betting industry. On Tuesdays, Frankie Noble hosts a brand new show called Girls Got Game, blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next up, we've got the Combine, an easygoing, conversational, and podcast-style show dropping on Wednesdays with Ty Patton as your host. No changes there. But a big change for the Combine is the set. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the Combine from our brand new podcast studio. We've got the lights, we've got the cameras, all for Ty Patton to bring the action, and we hope you're just as excited as we are for this amazing opportunity. Much great content from the Combine this semester, as always. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for our second live show, The Main Show, hosted by, well, yours truly. Here we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure, be it basketball, football, hockey, soccer, UFC, MMA, cycling, even baseball. But be sure to tune in throughout the semester for our special shows, including drafts, debates, and much, much more. Lastly, Nighttime is aired on Fridays, where Patrick Previty and Matthew Bracker talk about UCF and college sports. From in-depth looks at campus's top storylines to collegiate records being broken nationwide, let Nighttime be your primary college sports resource. And outside of our 5-show roster, be sure to tune into our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog run by Vlog King Nick Cohen, breaking news graphics on our Instagram page, and much more. As well, make sure you're subscribed to Hitting the Field Network on YouTube, as well as following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. But as for me, I've been Andrew Montana. Thank you so much for watching, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
And welcome back to the brand new Combine. Segment 2 is officially here, and we are diving into the biggest headlines in the NFL around Week 3. Notable games that we will not be talking about today, though, that we briefly need to mention. Ravens at Boys. The Ravens at the Cowboys. Two really scrappy football teams. They desperately need a switch in momentum. Something's going to give there. A very high-scoring game, in my opinion. Chargers at Steelers is going on. Both teams 2-0. Does Justin Fields get the starting job for Game 3? Does a win in Game 3 earn him the starting job for the season? What's going to happen? We're going to find out. And 49ers at Rams. Massive divisional matchup when the Seahawks are atop the NFC West. But we have 3 games in mind that are very, very important that we need to talk about desperately. With me to talk about them is Diego Ortiz and Danny V, the one and only. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Hey, man. I'm a little down about the Colts, but...
Hey, very fair. You know what? I was really hoping Anthony Richardson had the game that really set the tone for the rest of the season, especially against a Packers led by Malik Willis.
Yeah.
I really thought it was going to be his game. You know what I think? I think when Lamar had this same kind of problem a couple years ago, running quarterback, everybody loved his style of play, but hey, you got to get more accurate. You know, you got to figure that out. Went into an offseason, comes back better, wins MVP. I think Anthony Richardson maybe not wins MVP, but he's on a similar trajectory where now he's struggled a little bit.
You also got to remember, too, it was a 6th career start.
Yes, very, very fair. But I think he gets a break at midseason, goes into the offseason, learns from his mistakes, develops the passing. I think he could be really, really good come down the stretch. I just, I have to say he's a bum just because he played like one yesterday, but I have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah.
Hey, but good job for the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love, he actually balled out on like what happened in Brazil.
Jordan Love didn't ball out. Jordan Love's dead. Malik Willis is the starter. Come on, Danny. No, I'm just kidding. But Malik Willis was the starter. Malik Willis did kind of stink it up. Actually, I'm sorry. I'd say he stunk.
He stunk.
Yeah, it wasn't too good.
He was good in the first.
Hey, you see that one thing about the center throwing up on the ball?
Yes.
3rd down, Malik Willis he took a snap. It's supposed to be a pass play.
Yeah.
Comes back to the sideline. Matt Flores going, "Why didn't you throw the ball, Malik? What are you doing?" He goes, "Dude, he threw up all over the ball. What am I supposed to do?" Anyways, okay, 3 biggest games. I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. We got the Texans at the Vikings. 2-2-0 teams. One team walks out 3-0, one 2-1. And there's a lot of questions surrounding this game. This is a massive game for a lot of reasons. Number one, the Vikings are in the lead of the NFC North. Yeah. Like, who in the world would have thought that was the case? Packers 1-1 after just recently beating the Colts. Lions 1-1 after just losing to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. Right? Bears, they're just terrible. Yeah, Vikings, though, they look good. They look really good. It's ridiculous. League lead in sacks over here with 11. And Sam Darnold is potentially him. That guy might be the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL, like aside from Baker Mayfield. But so Texans, on the other hand, right? Joe Mixon kind of stunted in game 2. I know he went out with an injury second quarter, came back top of the 4th. But he really didn't have all that much of a game Definitely because of the injury, but even outside of it, it wasn't really a great performance from him, especially after having 186 yards in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, he also did play against the worst rushing defense in the NFL in week 1,
you got a
so
point.
that helped. But
You got
yeah,
credit where credit's due. Joe
Yeah.
Mixon is a dog, though.
Yeah.
I love Joe Mixon, but this team looks great. Nico Collins getting action. Diggs got 2 touchdowns in week 1.
yeah,
Both of these teams look phenomenal. Now, here's
They
the
do.
question of the day. We're going to touch on it again when we get to the Saints because I have the same kind of thinking with Derek Carr. But
right.
in 2017, the Tampa Bay Bucks had a great roster. Only reason I bring it up because I studied them closely back in the day.
Yeah, of
Ryan
course.
Fitzpatrick was the quarterback back then.
Yeah.
Right after J-Bo had an injury, Fitzpatrick comes in. Fitzmagic makes magic, and 2-0, 500 yards, 10 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Had a phenomenal season opener. Everyone said
Yeah.
Fitzmagic for MVP,
Yeah.
and then he stunk for the remaining 15 games of the year. He was horrible. And so I'm sort of thinking a lot of quarterbacks can do this, right? They can have a
Right.
great opener,
Right.
maybe great game 2, struggle down the stretch. Is that something you think we're seeing with Sam Darnold, or do you think he can carry it into week 3?
I think what helps the Vikings so much is their offensive schemes. I think Kevin O'Connell's probably, in my opinion, the most underrated play caller in the entire NFL.
Yes, 100%.
And I think it also helps too that Sam Darnold has the best wide receiver in the NFL to throw it to on a weekly basis. Yeah, that Bucks team was good. They had a lot of weapons on offense as well.
Hey, can you say that one more time?
Let's relax. but I think with the way the Vikings are set up around Sam Darnold, I think it'll help him a lot. So I think there's a chance that maybe he could fall off because there is a lot of film on Sam Darnold. He hasn't had necessarily the great career that everybody thought he could have, but I don't know. I think they can try to make it work. I think they could find a happy median, and I think they can be competitive for us this season.
Big time. I think people forget that this guy was a number 2 overall pick.
Exactly.
Also, on that same token, Jalen Naylor catches a touchdown. Jettas goes out with a quad injury, and he still puts a drive together with no Jordan Addison, no TJ Hawk, no Jettas, and puts up 3 against one of the best, if not the best, defense in the National Football League. Incredible performance. Yeah. Moving forward, though, we got the Lions at the Cardinals, 2 super explosive offenses. I'm really excited to see. What do we got?
I think this game's going to be really interesting next week. The Cardinals right now sitting at 1-1, second in the NFC East. I mean, they just looked explosive yesterday. Marvin Harrison Jr., literally in just the first quarter, 4 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. This offense is averaging 34.5 points per game.
Yes.
That's absurd. 489 total yards yesterday. I think, with the way, I think Kyler Murray, if he has a number 1 weapon like he did with D-Hop that one year where they started out 8-0, if you just give Kyler at least one good weapon, I think they can have a chance to really just explode. He looked like an MVP.
He did look like an MVP.
And a lot of people forget
Big
that.
time, yeah.
So I think that would be huge.
All 3 of us are on the same page that Kyler Murray looked like the
Yeah.
most valuable player in the NFL this past weekend.
Also yesterday, too, tight end Trey McBride went for 6 receptions, 67 yards. James Conner, 21 carries, 122 yards, a touchdown. So I think this game's going to be very telling about what the Cardinals are going to be for the rest of the season. And then going to the Lions, they're in need of a bounce-back game after yesterday, only putting up 16 points on offense. I mean, week 1 against the Rams, the Lions' offense looked pretty deadly, kind of like what they were last year with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
And then David Montgomery at the end in OT, kind of carrying them to that win. They're also 1-1 in the NFC North.
Yep.
Their offense has looked great, though, in both games. They had 363 yards in week 1, 463 yards of offense against the Bucs yesterday, and they only put up 16. I don't really understand that.
I think it's just the Bucs defense making clutch plays in the red zone.
Yeah,
they have been phenomenal in the red zone this year.
Yeah.
But a couple of things I want to highlight about the Lions and Cardinals. Number 1 is the Cardinals. This is an explosive offense. MHJ looked like prime Megatron. Kyler looked like prime Michael Vick. It was a different offense. On that same token, though, I want to move over and talk about how every player on that team is a dog and wants to go after it. James Conner had the chance to score a second touchdown, runs all the way up to the 2-yard line, fumbles, and Trey McBride shoves out 2 Rams and dives on the ball in the end zone to still keep a touchdown. These guys, they feel like they really want it, right? I think that makes them so special. The Lions, on the other hand, great run game as always. They had it last year. They have it this year. Amon-Ra is a great player. Can't discredit him. But J-Mo
Yeah.
Jamison Williams has been different this year. I really like that they're incorporating him.
Did he play? Did he play yesterday?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
Another tutty yesterday, I think. I believe.
Because I know he was on the injury report.
APs? Edgar, Elijah, do we have any confirmation on that?
Yeah, but since I don't want to jump into for the
Jamie, look that
I'll
up.
get on it.
But, so, we'll find out in a second. J-Mo, Sam Laporta, Amon Rock, great receivers. Demont, Jahmyr Gibbs, great running backs, right? Really, really good play all across the board. Two very explosive offenses as showcased from yesterday.
And that's what I wanted to touch on, too. Like, both of these teams have very explosive offenses. I'd say the Lions have more playmakers on defense than the Cardinals, but I think, like, both of these teams can get really hot and cold at times. So I think there's a chance that this game could either be really close, shootout, maybe go to OT, or it could just be a huge blowout that can go either way. So I think we'll see.
I think you also say that about a lot from last year. I mean, like the Lions, they were both on and off a lot of the season, mostly on a lot of the time. But definitely, they bring back a lot of their talent. They have a lot of good playmakers returning back from last year, and they're the favorite to win the NFC North, which as a Packers fan is kind of sad, but I definitely do think that they could potentially have a good chance of winning this game and potentially even going on a better run than last year.
Jamison Williams stats: no tutties, but 79 receiving yards, 5 receptions, 15 rushing yards. So
he's an X factor in that offense.
He is an X factor. Thank you, Edgar Rodriguez and Elijah McClary. That guy is different though. Like the little Xavier Worthy, Jaden Reed of these Chiefs Packers offenses. J-Mo is that.
He fits that mold.
Yes, it's phenomenal. I'm really excited about that team. Me too. I really think they could be good. I just think the Bucs offense is a little bit different. I think they're a lot better than people think. They're very undervalued. But Danny V's got a game that I am very excited to see. And real quick before we jump into it, I want to mention what we just talked about with Sam Darnold, Ryan Fitzpatrick analogy about how maybe he started off really hot, fell off. I think we may be looking at that with Derek Carr, but I'll have Danny V answer it. And when you mention the Cardinals with the points per game, the Saints are at 45.5 points per game.
They're a wagon right now.
Are you kidding? So, Danny V, I need to know from you, are the Saints legit? And do they even have a shot against the Eagles, and why or why not?
I do think they do have a chance against the Eagles. If they continue to play how they've been playing, they will definitely be doing it. If you look at the offenses, the Saints have the number 4 offense in the league. The Eagles had number 3. This is the battle of the offenses. So expect this game to be a shootout.
Very high scoring. I love the over on the Saints-Eagles this week.
Both teams have averaged for 400 total yards per game. Of course, the Eagles haven't played their second game yet. They're playing tonight against the Falcons, but I expect, of course, the Eagles to kind of dominate the game. But these teams are both undefeated. They're both on top of each other's respective divisions. These can be a really, really fun game to watch, especially as someone who loves points.
So the few things I want to look at is I think the Saints look more like a team than I think the Eagles do. I think the Eagles have more playmakers. They're a very individual sport that they're playing, but the Saints look like they were very cohesive. Now, can that carry? That's a different story. But for the Eagles, I feel like if you pull one piece of the puzzle out, the whole thing falls apart. I don't think they'll be able to capitalize. So tonight they play the Falcons. Like we said earlier, fugazi team. This team stinks. Eagles are going to win, but no A.J. Brown. If that carries over to the Saints, maybe that's a big X factor in that game.
I think what I'm looking forward to is just seeing how the secondary is going to just try to contain that over the top, just like Shaheed and Derek Carr. They've been connecting on every single play over the top.
I love Shaheed. That guy is awesome.
Dog. I definitely think one of the big offense plays I'm sure the Saints are looking at is Barkley, the Eagles. Barkley's 3 touchdowns in his debut game with the Eagles.
And he plays tonight. He might add
and of course, he's going to get more and more and more. So I'm sure they're definitely going to keep an eye on him and try to knock him down.
They have to. If they don't get a start on Barkley early, he's going to run all over him. That's a big problem. Cam Jordan's getting old. He's already out there with a walker. They have to dolly him into the field, I don't know if he's the run stopper he used to be. So Saquon maybe makes a massive difference in that game, and he's a pass catcher. So we'll see. But we did this last week. It was great. We're going to do it again this week. Dale, do you mind if we do a game sponsored by nobody?
Sure, let's do it.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to give you a game. Okay. And you have to give me the money line on who's going to win. I'm going to give you a game. You pick the winner.
Okay.
But don't bet on it because we're not a betting show. We are not a betting show here at the Combine. Our picks are bad. Yep. Play the sirens. They're coming to get me. Do not do it. Don't bet on it. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Ravens at Boys.
Ravens.
I like it. Chargers at Steelers.
Steelers.
Ooh, I don't mind that. 49ers at Rams.
I think
Niners.
49ers.
Okay, both not. Okay, Saints at Eagles.
Eagles.
Against the Saints.
Ooh, Lions at Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals. Texans at Vikings.
Vikings.
Vikings, yeah.
All right, and give me Bucks at Broncos, just so I can hear it once.
Bucks.
Bucks.
Bro, come on, bro. Come on.
Gotcha.
Bro.
Somebody throw Danny V in jail. Life sentence. Never coming out. Horrible. Don't tell me that Bo Nix and the Broncos are beating the Bucks. No, I'm just kidding,
No.
pal. I love the takes. That's very fun. We're going to see
I
if
do
it
think
hits,
Bucks are
but
gonna win.
Diego, David Ortiz, and Danny V, phenomenal as always. And we will see you next week on the brand new Combine. Take care.